Here we go with this lady again. Briann January stalking. You're acting like a stalker.
Let's be real about something. Caitlin Clark is being stalked. Not by some random fan with a creepy obsession, though that's happened too, but by her own assistant coach. Briann January caught on camera hovering over Clark's shoulder like a shadow that refuses to disappear. And the whole thing went down in the middle of a nationally televised game during the Fever's matchup against the Las Vegas Aces. The moment captured everyone's attention when Lexi Hall hit
to try to knock off the top dog, right? Like it's very normal. But what people don't understand is that, like, I played basketball. I started playing when I was 10. I'm 34. So that's 24 years of me seeing the women's game in real time. When Skylar Diggins came out of Notre Dame and went to the WNBA, she was the it girl. She had the culture. She had Drake giving her kisses at the ESPYs. She had celebrities at her games. And when she
a buzzer beater that got waved off by the refs. Caitlin Clark, being the competitor she is, immediately walked over to the official to discuss the call. Reasonable, right? You'd think the assistant coach would head to the locker room with the rest of the team. But no, Briann January appeared from absolutely nowhere. 1 second, she was talking to someone else on the other side of the court. The next, she was practically breathing down Clark's neck while she tried to have a conversation with the referee. The comparison was instant. January popped up like Sting dropping from the raft.
Team stylistically, I agree. I don't think they're up in this game if they tried to play this style with Caitlin Clark. Steph's system relies on low-maintenance point guard that doesn't need the ball and just passes side to side. Then he also said Stephanie White's system absolutely works better without Caitlin Clark. Why I've said it for
in WCW. She rose from the floor like The Undertaker. And here's the thing. This wasn't some isolated incident. The video that went viral showed a clear pattern. Clark is standing there trying to talk to the official, and January is right behind her. Why are you hovering over my shoulder every 13 seconds? Why are you following me when everyone else is walking to the locker room? Fans immediately started calling it what it was, stalking, and the reaction was swift. Back up. Fall back. Give the woman 10 feet of space. Find something else to do. But the obsession with Clark seems to run deeper than just one.
Oh, look. Hold on. Let me get the right one for y'all, man. Because Briann January's popping up like the damn Undertaker. Like, dude, you gotta fall back, bro. Like, you're doing too much. You're doing way too much. You're doing a little bit too much. All right. Here we
An overzealous assistant coach. The Indiana Fever have been under scrutiny for something far more calculated than one assistant's strange behavior. WNBA analyst Mick Talk Hoops dropped a bombshell that had the basketball world buzzing. His take: the Fever front office has spent 2 off seasons building a roster and coaching staff that works better without Caitlin Clark. They specifically constructed a system that's the complete opposite of what Clark would thrive in. And it might be too late to reverse course. Amber Cox and Stephanie White built this roster to work.
Know, in your opinion, what kind of, what do you believe played a role in some of this stuff? Is it just isolated incidents, or do you concede that there is some resentment to
look at
without their best player? And many believe that was intentional. They're sabotaging her. Think about that for a second. You have the biggest star in the history of your league, a player who single-handedly brought in more viewers, more money, more attention than anyone before her. And your front office strategy is to build around her absence? The conspiracy theorists aren't just wearing tin foil hats anymore. The pattern is becoming undeniable. They want to be able to
Gumake, who's also biased and it's just insane. Let's take a look.
backwards and forwards. All three of you do. And so when I took the position last year, when there was some Caitlin Clark issues, like, listen, there's some jealousy. It's not
move on from her. The question is why? Enter Stephen A. Smith, who didn't hold back when addressing the situation. Clark is the cash cow, he declared. There's a palpable resentment toward this girl. She brought the eyes. She brought the money. She's the show. And he pointed out the obvious. The veterans in the league had years to build the sport, but they couldn't get people to care. Clark showed up and got people to care. It is what it is.
Stephanie White or Caitlin Clark. I think the Indiana Fever have done everything they can to build around Stephanie White, not Caitlin Clark. I agree. Here's a big one. The Fever had 2 off seasons to build around Caitlin Clark with their coaching.
But instead of riding the wave, some WNBA players and personnel have chosen to resent the person who made their paychecks bigger. During the same conversation, Stephen A. went after Chundy Carter for trying to rewrite history. Carter attempted to compare Clark's treatment to what Skylar Diggins-Smith experienced coming out of Notre Dame. Her argument was that Diggins was also the
that's been in this league for years, that did everything they could to uplift and build the sport to this point, and then everybody wants to throw all the praise and all the acclaim in Caitlin Clark's direction, so that's going to build some resentment.
But it don't matter. It don't matter what they did. They didn't do it. I get you. You was
girl who faced tough physical play and targeting. Stephen A. wasn't having it. You're full of crap, he fired back. Skylar Diggins did not get treated the way Caitlin Clark has been treated in this league. Knock it off. He called the comparison nasty work and a straight-up lie. The difference? The level of animosity is completely different. Diggins-Smith had a phenomenal career and absolutely faced her share of hard fouls. But nobody followed her to every corner of the court. Nobody stalked her while she tried to speak to referees.
You're right there. Right there. Look, boom, here goes Briann January. Just right here. Just stalking her. She's right here. Just stalking her. Like, why are you behind me? I'm talking to the ref. Why are you behind me? Like, everybody is going that way to the locker room. Go that way. Why are you?
Nobody was caught on camera hovering behind her like an obsessed fan who somehow got a coaching credential. The intensity and targeting Clark faces is unprecedented, and that's what makes the January video so damning. What's truly wild is that this stalking metaphor isn't even just a metaphor anymore. A Texas man, 55-year-old Michael Lewis, was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for stalking Clark. He sent her sexually explicit messages, claimed he was in a fake relationship with her, and even mentioned driving
staff the complete opposite way to play a style, the opposite of what Caitlin Clark would be able to thrive in. And it's likely too late to reverse course. And now take a look at this from WNBA_analyst. It says, Amber Cox and Stephanie White have built a roster and system to work without Caitlin Clark.
By her house multiple times. The prosecutor said it took courage for Clark to come forward and that she was setting an example for all women who deserve to live and work without the threat of sexual violence. So on one hand, you have a legitimate stalker who is locked up. On the other hand, you have an assistant coach who seems to follow her around the court with the same intensity. The irony isn't lost on anyone watching. WNBA players have spoken out about how super scary the privacy and security concerns are as the league grows. But the threat isn't always from the outside. Sometimes it's coming from inside the building. And that's the paradox of Caitlin Clark. She's simultaneously...
And you're straight. You deal with a different level of it in this league, bro. At least Skylar Diggins had the black part going for her. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying. Like, nah, we're not about to sit here and lie and pretend like Skylar Diggins was treated and targeted and attacked the way Caitlin Clark has been. Knock it off, Chinny Ogumake. That's nasty work and you're lying. Stop it. Knock it off.
The most valuable player in the league and the most targeted. She's the reason the WNBA is finally getting the attention and revenue it deserves. Yet there's a contingent within the league, from players to front office personnel, that seems determined to push her out. A rising tide lifts all boats, Stephen A. Smith reminded everyone. But some people would rather sink the ship if it means...
Waved it off. Now you're going to see Caitlin Clark talking to the ref. You see Caitlin Clark right here. You see Caitlin Clark right here. Briann January, nowhere to be found. Briann January's right there talking to somebody else. Caitlin Clark
means not sailing in her wake. What happens next will define the future of the WNBA. Do they protect their biggest star and let her thrive? Or does the jealousy and resentment continue to fester, both on the court and from the coaching staff? One thing's certain, Caitlin Clark isn't going anywhere, and neither are the people watching her every move.